Today we're going to talk about content pillars. You may have heard the term content clusters, content buckets. They're all pretty much the same thing. It's interchangeable. People like to throw the term around a lot, but most don't really know it has a set definition. They're a strategic tool that you use within your marketing and within your content strategy in order to build a brand online. A content pillar is a thing that will consistently crop up within your content marketing strategy and within the stuff you produce online. So there are 5 types of content pillars. Any content pillar you have will fall into one of these 5 categories: educational, entertaining, inspirational, promotional, or community-based. Now, since we're discussing something that's quite conceptual, I'm going to throw in a few examples. So an example of an educational content pillar by Squat University, a popular fitness Instagram online personality. To be fair, he's probably got more platforms than I know about. He's very consistent and he adopts a cross-posting strategy, so a lot of his stuff appears on the same platforms. An educational content pillar for him would be assessing someone's squat from a clip and replying to it with feedback on why it was either good or bad. It's educational because he takes the approach of physiology and biomechanics. An inspirational content pillar adopted by a lot of charities would be seeing people who have benefited from their charitable acts, who have a set disability or disadvantage or discriminatory factor, and showing their stories and telling them to the audience and about how the charity helped that person. Those brands want to post something new and they can't think of something off the top of their head, then they would refer to their content pillars and just make a new version of that theme. This leads into why we would have content pillars. So in addition to not needing to think of new ideas every time and having to go back to square one in the content production process, you would also use it for organization, so keeping stuff relevant to your brand and keeping it on theme so your users expect that sort of thing from you. Content pillars can be related to specific target audiences, so there's a lot of businesses and a lot of influencers, a lot of people online who want to approach different segments of people. One piece of content should not appeal to everyone. So you would have different content pillars and different content types that are targeted at your individual audiences. Let's say if Transport for Greater Manchester wanted to appeal to students with a certain pass they have, that's an individual product that they offer to just students, but also they want to talk to the disabled users of their transport systems, they would create a piece of content that focuses around how they make their services accessible. Those are 2 content pillars within different target audiences for the same business. Another purpose of content pillars is maintaining consistency. So if you say a message one time, people will forget about it. If you repeat this message over and over and over through different pieces of content, then you become more credible within your sector and you build a trustworthy relationship with the user. If you hear you say something a few times from different angles, different perspectives, then they believe that you really do have a strong knowledge of the subject matter you're covering. It also helps build your brand's tone of voice, and it will help you engage users in the long term. Say someone watches something you post on YouTube and they decide, oh, I like that. They want to go onto your channel and see more things of a similar nature. So they will be able to predict what you're going to come out with next and subscribe to you to see that type of content. Now, when you're trying to create your content pillars, you need to define your target market. If you don't know who you're trying to appeal to and what you're hoping to get them to do for a conversion, whether it's buying a product, getting them to attend a class, getting them to join your email list, any of these things, you need to have a target audience so you know what kind of content you need to be producing regularly to appeal to them and to influence their behavior. Shockingly, that's how the term influencer came to be. Amazing. Now, once you have your target audience defined, you want to utilize keywords to target them. You want to implement a hashtag strategy. That's what I talked about in my last video, so you should check that out if you're not sure what that is. You can also leverage content gaps to appeal to your target audience with a content pillar. I'm actually going to do something about that in the future, so if you want to keep an eye out for that, make sure you subscribe now. The number of content pillars you have can be quite up in the air. Most people wouldn't know how many is too many, how many is too few. We can't really set a number for it because it would depend on how many target audiences you want to focus on, how much of a variety personality you want to be online. But let's say you're your average small business owner, you're producing all your content yourself and you are trying to build a following without much help at all. A normal amount of content pillars would probably be between 9, 10. I would max out at 15. You don't necessarily need to use all content pillar types. Most people are going to be looking for a certain type of content, and if people are looking to be educated in a scientific field, then you don't need to be entertaining them necessarily. I think it's a wise idea to balance it out, so you choose a main one you focus on, and then you scatter the other few in as you go. Pretty much anyone who is trying to earn revenue from their content will want to put in a bit of a promotional piece every now and again, so you can really close the sale and turn it into a conversion. But I think the majority of content online finds success by flicking between 2 or 3 content pillar types and having at least 3 different individual content pillars within your primary content type. Now, once you have all your content pillars listed within your content pillar types, then you would create something called a content bank. This is a separate document that you would complete, and essentially it's a list of ideas formatted however you so choose that works for your brain. I personally just have a little checklist on my phone where you put all your individual content ideas, because a content pillar is not a single piece of content. A content idea will go into a content pillar, which goes within a content pillar type. So here's an example I would give for the martial arts / fitness industry. Let's say the content pillar type we've gone for is educational. A content pillar would be demonstrating techniques and explaining practical applications of techniques. That would then contain an idea of something like how to hold a fist correctly to conduct a punch, and then explaining why it works, which is these 2 knuckles here. It's supposed to be the point of impact without trapping your thumb. Then another piece of content within that content pillar would be how to extend your leg properly for a turning kick and why it would be conducted that way. Let's go into another industry, let's say hair and beauty. An inspirational piece of content for hair and beauty would be maybe a lady who's been suffering from alopecia partially, and then having a style created to accommodate that for her and her feeling so much better. But another piece of inspirational content could be a new hairdresser learning how to hold scissors even though she's got a tremor, for example. Promotional content is a hard one because no one wants to feel like they're being sold to, and if you throw in a bunch of promotional content all the time, this is why I think a lot of businesses struggle online, because they just post, I've got this thing, buy it, I've got this thing, buy it, I've got this thing, buy it, I've got this class, come to it, oh my god, please come, buy from me, give me money, da 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 da, and then no one actually wants to go onto their feed because they know exactly what they're going to get when they turn up, which is buy my stuff, give me your money. They want something in return, and that's the reason you have organic content in the first place, because you're trying to lure people in the least intimidating way possible, to try and give them something, to offer them something for free so they feel the need to support you or come along on this journey and close the sales funnel with you. If you have purely promotional content, then you would have to be the most niche down in demand industry in the world, because people are going to come to you and they want that thing, and you're the only one who can provide that thing, and all they need to know from you is how to buy that thing. Otherwise, you need to make them laugh and then maybe slip something in at the end saying how they can support you. You need to make them feel like they've gained something and then offer them a tool to keep learning, which may happen to require a paywall. That's where content pillars come in handy, because it lets you spread the ratio a little bit. Once you've got all your individual content ideas, you put them into your content bank, and then when you realize, oh no, all my content has gone out, I've not got anything planned, what do? I meant to post tomorrow, then you can just go to your content bank and pick something from a content pillar you've not touched in a while, and you can sit down and produce it much faster than if you were just sitting down with nothing to go off going, oh my god, I gotta post tomorrow, what am I gonna do? Now, some of this may still feel a bit too overwhelming for you, and the idea of these are to help you generate more content ideas, but if you really are struggling, or you just genuinely don't have enough time in the day to think of your own new concepts, I have a few solutions that may benefit you. If you go to my website, www.dibdaddigital.com/shop, you can see a link in my description below, you will find I actually have content idea lists available for sale. These can function as your own individual content banks. I am in the process of developing a bunch of different industries. As mentioned a minute ago, I am working on martial artists right now, martial arts instructors, and then I'm going to be coming out with a bunch of different industries. If you have a specific one you want a content idea list created for, then mention it in the comments. Or I have a slightly more customized option where you can get a customized content calendar. So a content calendar is a number of content ideas put into a chronological order, and the idea of it is I space out the different content pillar types within the different industries over a given time frame. I have options at multiple price points. I have the weekly one, which has 7 content ideas. I have the monthly one, which has 31 content ideas, and then I have the quarterly one, which is big beefy list, which is 92 ideas. They're all priced at different levels because obviously the more ideas you need to think of, the harder it is to get unique and not repeat, and that's why you outsource it, so it's the hard part done by me. All you need to do is fill out a few questions at the point of adding the product to your basket, and then I will complete them on a first come first served basis. Basically, you just need to provide stuff like what sort of industry you're in, who your target market is, and in the any more info box you can talk about the individual content pillars you have, maybe link an existing channel you have so I can use it as as a basis to come up with more relevant stuff. And then once you complete your purchase, I'll have all that information ready to go. Hopefully you feel like this has helped you. Subscribe to me for more educational content on digital marketing and content creation, and hopefully this isn't feeling a bit too meta for you, so please subscribe.